Listen closely now, my friend. Let me take you into a quiet, gentle world. A world where the sky is heavy, the streets are calm, and the soft sound of rain is about to change everything. Because sometimes a small rainy day can teach us more English and more about life than we expect. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, let your mind slow down, and let this story guide your listening, your speaking, and your imagination. This is Super English Talks, and today we begin with a simple moment. A moment when the first drop of rain touched the world. It was early morning. Not too cold, not too warm. Just one of those quiet mornings when the world feels like it is still waking up. The air was soft. The clouds were low. And the sky was painted in a calm gray color, like someone had taken a big brush and gently covered everything above. Our main character, Lucas, stood near his small kitchen window. He held a warm cup of tea in his hands. He liked mornings like this. He liked the stillness. He liked the silence before the day began. But today felt different. Something was in the air. Something peaceful, and maybe a little mysterious. Lucas took a sip of his tea and looked outside. The street was empty. The trees stood very still, like they were waiting for something. And the sky looked heavy, as if it was full of secrets. Then it happened. One small drop of rain fell on the window. Just one. Lucas blinked. He wasn't sure if he had really seen it. But then, another drop. And another. Slow, soft, quiet rain began tapping the glass. Tick, tick, tick. It was not loud. It was not fast. It was like the sky was whispering a gentle hello. Lucas smiled. He loved rain. He loved the smell of it. The sound of it. The feeling of the world slowing down. But he didn't know that this rainy morning would lead him into a very unexpected day. A day full of small surprises. A day full of calm conversations. A day where he would learn something new about himself, and maybe even about life. As the rain became a little stronger, Lucas put down his cup. He walked closer to the window. He listened to the soft sound. And in that simple moment, he felt something warm inside him. Do you ever feel that? That peaceful feeling when rain begins? That soft sound that makes your heart feel calm? Lucas felt it too. But he also felt something else. A tiny idea. A tiny thought. Something telling him that today might not be an ordinary day. He didn't know why. He didn't know how. But something felt different. He looked at the street outside again. There was a small bakery across from his building. A friendly place with warm lights and the smell of fresh bread. Usually, people came in and out every morning. Workers. Students. Families buying breakfast. But today, no one was there. The rain had made everyone stay inside. Lucas watched the bakery door for a moment. Then he noticed something. The lights inside were on. But the sign on the door still said closed. That was strange. The bakery usually opened early. Very early. The owner, Mrs. Green, was always there before sunrise. Lucas tilted his head. Why was the sign still closed? Was she late? Was something wrong? He felt curious. And maybe a little worried. The rain continued to fall. Soft. Slow. Peaceful. But Lucas could not stop thinking about the bakery. Finally, he picked up his light jacket. He opened his door. And he stepped outside into the cool, gentle rain. The street felt different now. It felt quieter. Calmer. The air smelled fresh and clean. Lucas walked across the street. The rain touched his hair, his hands, his jacket. But it didn't bother him. He liked it. It made him feel awake. When he reached the bakery door, he looked inside. He could see Mrs. Green. She was moving slowly near the counter. She looked tired. And the sign still said closed. Lucas gently pushed the door. It opened with a soft sound. Mrs. Green looked up. "Oh, Lucas, she said, surprised. You're out early today. Lucas smiled kindly. Good morning, Mrs. Green. I saw the lights on. I thought maybe you needed help. She gave a small, tired laugh. You always see everything, don't you? Lucas shrugged, a little shy. I just noticed the sign. Are you okay? Mrs. Green sighed softly. Her hands rested on the counter. And for a moment, she looked older than usual. Not sad. Just tired, in a deep way. I'm fine, she said. But it's been a long week. And the rain, well, the rain always slows things down. Lucas nodded. He looked around the bakery. The fresh bread was already baked. The pastries were ready. Everything looked warm and welcoming, like always. But something in the air felt heavy, just like the sky. The rain continued tapping on the windows. Lucas took a small breath. Would you like me to help open the shop today? Mrs. Green looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes softened. Her shoulders relaxed. That would be very kind, Lucas, she said softly. Very kind. And just like that, the rainy day began its soft, gentle pull, bringing Lucas into a story he did not expect. A story where simple conversations would feel like warm tea, where small moments would shine quietly, where the rain would guide him through a day of learning about English, about connection, and about life. And as he walked to the front door to flip the sign from closed to open, the rain fell a little harder, as if the sky was ready to tell the rest of the story. The rain outside grew a little stronger as Lucas gently turned the bakery sign from closed to open. The small wooden sign made a soft click sound, and in that moment, the quiet street felt just a little more awake. The warm yellow light from the bakery spilled out onto the wet road, mixing with the gray morning air. It felt like a tiny lighthouse in a rainy world. Lucas stepped back inside, letting the door close behind him. The smell of fresh bread welcomed him immediately, warm, soft, comforting, like a hug you didn't know you needed. Mrs. Green was behind the counter, slowly arranging pastries in neat rows. Croissants, sweet rolls, small cakes with shiny tops. Everything looked beautiful, gentle, and ready for the day. But it was still very quiet. No customers. Just the rain tapping softly on the windows and the warm humming sound of the bakery machines. Lucas walked to the counter. Do you want me to take care of the front today? Maybe greet the customers? Or help with the coffee? He asked, his voice soft and friendly. Mrs. Green smiled at him, tired, but grateful. You can help however you like, she said. I think I just need a slow morning. Lucas nodded. He understood that kind of morning. A morning when you just want to breathe and move gently. A morning when the rain outside matches the quiet inside your heart. He walked toward the coffee machine, ready to prepare it for the day. He had helped Mrs. Green many times before, so he knew the small routine well. He cleaned the cups. He checked the water. He wiped the counter slowly, enjoying the rhythm of the morning. The bakery felt like a small world, safe, warm, peaceful. And then, he heard a soft voice. Excuse me, are you open? Lucas turned around. At the door stood a young woman with an umbrella dripping water onto the floor. Her hair was a little wet. Her cheeks were pink from the cold. She looked shy, maybe even a little nervous. Lucas smiled kindly. Yes, we're open. Please come in. She stepped inside slowly, closing her umbrella carefully. The warm air from the bakery wrapped around her like a blanket. She let out a small breath of relief. It smells so nice in here, she said softly. Lucas nodded. Fresh bread always makes rainy days better. She smiled at that. A small, honest smile. Lucas thought she looked like someone who enjoyed quiet places. Someone who maybe liked books, music, and the kind of mornings where you sit near a window and listen to the rain. She walked toward the counter, looking at all the pastries with bright eyes. Everything looks beautiful, she whispered, almost to herself. Mrs. Green finally came forward, her warm smile returning. "Good morning, dear. What would you like today?" The young woman looked at the croissants again. Maybe a warm croissant. And a small coffee, please." "Of course," Mrs. Green said. Lucas stepped in. "I can make the coffee." Mrs. Green gave him a small nod, appreciating the help. Lucas prepared the coffee carefully, using slow movements, listening to the soft sound of the machine. The young woman watched him quietly, her expression calm, maybe curious. When the coffee was ready, Lucas placed it on the counter with a gentle smile. "There you go. One warm coffee for a rainy morning." The woman smiled back. "Thank you. That's exactly what I needed." She took her croissant and coffee to a small table near the window. She sat down slowly, placed her bag beside her, and looked outside for a moment. The rain was still falling. Soft, steady, almost musical. The woman wrapped her hands around the warm coffee cup. She closed her eyes for a second, enjoying the heat. Then she opened a notebook from her bag. Lucas noticed this from behind the counter. He wondered if she was a student, a writer, a traveler. For a moment, he simply watched as she took a deep breath and began to write something slowly, the pen moving gently across the page. Mrs. Green walked over to Lucas. "She looks like someone with stories," she whispered. Lucas chuckled softly. "Maybe. Or maybe she's studying something important." Mrs. Green nodded. Rainy days always bring interesting people. Lucas thought about that. He looked outside. The whole street seemed to be hiding under umbrellas or staying indoors. The bakery truly felt like a small world of its own. After a few minutes, the woman looked up from her notebook. She seemed to be thinking about something. Then, she raised her hand slightly. "Excuse me," she said softly. Lucas walked over to her. "Yes? Do you need something?" She smiled gently. "I'm sorry if this sounds strange, but do you have a place where I can charge my phone? It's almost dead." Lucas nodded. "Of course. There's a small socket right behind this table." "Thank you," she said, relief in her voice. Rainy mornings and low batteries. Not a good combination. Lucas laughed quietly. "I understand. Happens to me all the time." She plugged in her phone and gave a small nod of thanks. Lucas returned to the counter, but he felt something inside him, a soft curiosity, like a little spark. Who is she? Why was she writing in her notebook? Why did she look a little sad, but also peaceful? Mrs. Green seemed to sense Lucas's thoughts. She gently tapped his shoulder. "You can ask her name, you know," she whispered with a smile. Lucas looked away, shy. "Oh no, I don't want to bother her." Mrs. Green's smile grew. Sometimes a simple hello can make a rainy day brighter. Lucas thought about that. He knew she was right, but he wasn't sure if he had the courage yet. The young woman took a slow sip of her coffee and looked outside again. Drops of rain raced down the glass, creating small rivers. The morning still felt quiet, but now it was a warm quiet. A comforting quiet. Lucas watched her again. He felt something small, but real beginning inside this rainy day, a tiny thread connecting him to the moment, to the bakery, to this new person. The world outside was gray, but inside the bakery, everything felt soft, warm, and full of gentle possibilities. The rain outside grew steadier, as if the sky wanted to sing a soft song for the quiet bakery. Lucas stood behind the counter, wiping a clean cup again, even though it didn't really need wiping. He wasn't nervous, not really. But he felt something warm inside him, something curious, something awake. The young woman sat by the window, writing slowly in her notebook. She took small bites of her warm croissant. Her phone charged quietly beside her. She looked peaceful, almost lost in thought. Lucas kept glancing toward her table. Every time he looked, She seemed deep in her own world. And every time he looked away, he felt a small, gentle question grow in his mind. Should I talk to her? Should I say something? Maybe just a hello? Mrs. Green noticed him looking. Of course she noticed. She always noticed everything in her bakery. You know, she whispered with a playful smile, the coffee machine is clean now. You can take a short break. Maybe sit for a moment. Lucas looked surprised. Sit? Me? Now? Yes, she said softly. Rainy days are slow. And you're always helping me. Go say hello. Lucas hesitated. He wasn't shy with most people. But something about this quiet young woman made him feel careful. He didn't want to disturb her. He didn't want to seem strange. He didn't want to break the gentle peace of the moment. But he also didn't want the moment to pass forever. He took a small breath, put down the clean cup, smoothed his hair, though the rain earlier had already made it a little messy. And then he walked toward the window table. The young woman noticed the soft footsteps and looked up with warm eyes. Lucas gave her a friendly smile. Hi. I just wanted to check if everything is okay. Is the coffee good? She smiled back, shy but open. Yes, it's very good. Thank you. This place is perfect for a rainy morning. Lucas nodded. We like to make it feel warm in here. Soft. Calm. She looked around the bakery, her eyes gentle. Well, you do it very well. It feels safe. Her words made Lucas feel something soft move inside his chest. Safe. Such a simple word, but so full of meaning. He glanced at her notebook. Noticing, she gently closed it, as if embarrassed. Oh, Lucas said quickly, raising his hands. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your writing. No, it's okay, she laughed lightly. It's just something I like to do. I write when it rains. That's nice, he said. I listen to rain. That's my thing. She smiled again. A soft, honest smile. The kind that makes a moment feel warm. For a moment, they simply listened to the rain together. The quiet pattering on the windows. The gentle breathing of the bakery. The sound of the world slowing down. Then Lucas asked, Is this your first time here? I don't think I've seen you before. She nodded slowly. Yes. I just moved here. 2 days ago, actually. That surprised Lucas. Really? Welcome to the neighborhood. Thank you, she said softly. I'm still getting used to the place. Everything feels new. And the rain, it makes the day feel a little lonely. Lucas understood that feeling very well. He had felt it many times. Moving. Changing places. Starting fresh. It can be lonely, he said gently. But this neighborhood is friendly. People look out for each other. And the bakery, well, it's like the heart of the street. Her eyes softened. That's exactly what it feels like. Warm. Familiar. Like a place you want to return to. Lucas felt a small laugh escape him. It has that magic, yes. There was another quiet moment. Rain. Soft breathing. Warm air. The smell of fresh bread. Then she said, I'm Ella, by the way. Lucas smiled. Nice to meet you, Ella. I'm Lucas. Nice to meet you too, Lucas. He liked the way she said his name. Soft. Natural. Like she had known it for a long time. Mrs. Green watched from the counter, pretending to arrange cookies, but clearly listening. Her smile was almost too big for her face. Lucas tried not to laugh. Ella looked at her notebook again. Lucas noticed she hesitated, like she wanted to say something. What do you write about? He asked gently. Her fingers touched the cover of the notebook. Feelings mostly. Moments. Simple things that make life slow. That sounds beautiful. She looked surprised. Most people say it sounds boring. Lucas shook his head. Then most people don't know how to see the small things. Ella took a slow breath. Her shoulders relaxed a little. She said quietly, I actually came here because I wanted a calm place to think. And the rain, well, the rain makes me feel honest. I can write better when the world is soft like this. Lucas nodded. I understand that. Rain makes me feel connected. Like everything around me is speaking in a quiet voice. Ella's eyes lit up. Yes, exactly that. For a moment, they simply shared the feeling. A quiet, gentle understanding. The kind that doesn't need many words. Then she asked, do you live close by? Lucas pointed toward the street. Right across. Just there. That's lucky, she said. You can smell fresh bread every morning. Lucas laughed. Yes. And sometimes it makes me too hungry. She smiled again, bigger this time. Warmer. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered. Just once. Then again. Ella looked up. Was that the electricity? Lucas turned around. Mrs. Green looked worried. The light flickered a third time. Outside, the rain grew heavier. Thicker. Louder. The sky darkened, even though it was still morning. Lucas felt a small shiver of worry. The bakery was old. The building was older. Sometimes, in heavy rain, the electricity did strange things. The lights flickered again, and then stayed steady. Mrs. Green let out a breath. Oh, thank goodness. Ella placed her hand on her coffee cup. That scared me a little. It happens, Lucas said reassuringly. The building likes to scare us sometimes. Ella laughed softly, the sound mixing with the rain. It made Lucas feel lighter. But outside, the storm grew stronger. The world turned a deeper gray. The road began to shine with water. Small puddles grew into tiny pools. Ella looked worried for a moment. I didn't think it would rain this much. Lucas shook his head. Neither did I. But don't worry. You can stay here as long as you want. Her shoulders relaxed again. Thank you. I really appreciate that. He nodded. It's a good place to wait out the rain. Another quiet moment. Rain tapping. Warm lights glowing. The bakery breathing gently. Ella took another sip of coffee. It's strange, she said softly. I woke up today feeling lonely. But now, I don't feel that way anymore. Lucas felt something warm fill his chest. He didn't know what to say at first. So he simply said, I'm glad. Ella brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. Talking with you feels easy. Lucas smiled. It feels easy for me too. And then the door opened. The bell above it chimed softly. A new person entered the bakery, shaking off an umbrella. A tall man with a worried expression. He looked around quickly, as if searching for someone or something. The bell above the bakery door gave a soft ring as the tall man stepped inside. He closed his umbrella quickly, small drops of rain falling onto the floor like tiny pieces of the storm outside. His coat was wet, his hair was messy, and his face carried a kind of worry that made the warm bakery suddenly feel a little tense. Lucas watched him carefully. Ella lifted her eyes from her cup too, holding it a little tighter. Mrs. Green, gentle as always, offered the man a polite smile. Good morning, she said kindly. How can I help you? The man didn't answer right away. He looked around the room as if searching for someone important. His eyes scanned the tables, the counter, the corners of the bakery. Finally, he spoke. His voice was deep, tired, and a little shaky. Excuse me, have you seen a girl? She's about 12. She ran outside about 20 minutes ago. I lost her in the rain. Lucas felt his chest tighten. Ella straightened in her chair. Mrs. Green asked softly, is she lost? The man nodded quickly. Yes. She got upset this morning. She didn't want to talk. I tried to calm her, but before I knew it, she ran out the door. I thought she came this way, but I can't find her. His voice cracked slightly, and he looked away, trying to hide the fear. Lucas stepped forward. What does she look like? The man took a breath. She has short brown hair, a yellow rain jacket, and she usually carries a small red backpack. Lucas looked toward the foggy window. The street outside was blurry, soaked, and empty. He felt the weight of the moment. He felt the responsibility sitting on his shoulders. He couldn't just stand there. Ella looked at Lucas, her eyes wide with worry. "Should we help him look?" she whispered. Lucas nodded slowly. "Yes, we should." Mrs. Green came forward, touching the man's arm gently. "Let me get you a warm drink. You look cold. Sit for a moment." But the man shook his head. "No, thank you. I can't stop. I have to find her." He ran a hand through his wet hair. "I shouldn't have let her walk away. I shouldn't have." Lucas stepped closer. "We'll help you," he said softly. "We can check this street. Maybe she stopped somewhere to stay dry." The man looked at Lucas with surprised, grateful eyes. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Thank you so much." Before they could move, there was another flicker of the bakery lights. A slow, nervous blink. The storm outside seemed to grow even darker, even heavier. Rain pounded the windows now, no longer soft. It sounded like 1,000 tiny drums beating against the glass. Ella stood from her chair, grabbing her bag. "Let's check near the bookstore," she suggested. "Maybe she went inside to hide from the rain." Lucas nodded. "Good idea. And I'll check the small park near the bus stop." Mrs. Green looked at both of them with deep worry. "Please be careful out there," she said. "The storm is strong." Lucas put on his jacket. Ella took her umbrella. The man pulled his hood over his head. Before stepping out, Lucas looked at Ella. "Are you sure you want to come? It's raining very hard." Ella nodded firmly. "Yes, a child is lost. Of course I'm coming." Lucas felt something warm inside him again. Respect. Admiration. The three of them pushed open the door. A cold rush of air greeted them, strong and wet. Rain immediately touched their faces. The man took a deep breath. "Her name is Lily," he said. "She answers to it quickly." "Okay," Lucas replied. "We'll call her name if we see anything." They split up, moving in different directions. Ella went toward the bookstore. The man walked quickly down the long street. And Lucas turned toward the small park, his shoes splashing in the growing puddles. The rain was loud. The wind was cold. But Lucas didn't stop. He looked carefully around every corner, every bench, every tree. "Lily," he called gently. "Lily, can you hear me?" Only the sound of rain answered him. He walked faster now, feeling the storm pushing against him. His jacket was already wet. His hair stuck to his forehead. But he didn't stop. He reached the park. It was empty. The swings moved slowly in the wind. The small slide was shiny from the rain. The trees shook as if they were shivering. Lucas looked closely near a bench. There was a small puddle where someone had stepped recently. A small foot. A child's foot. His heart jumped. "Lily," he called again. No answer. He walked deeper into the park. He checked behind the tall bushes. He checked near the little wooden bridge. Then he saw something. A small, bright yellow shape near the old oak tree. Rain hit his face harder as he ran forward. His heart pounded. His breath shook. And when he got close enough, he saw it clearly. A yellow rain jacket. Small. Wet. Shaking. A little girl was sitting with her knees pulled to her chest, hugging her backpack tightly, her face hidden. Lucas knelt down slowly, carefully. "Lily," he said softly, his voice warm. The girl didn't look up. He tried again, even softer. "Lily, it's okay. You're safe." She lifted her head a little. Her eyes were red. Her cheeks were wet not just from the rain, but from tears. Who are you?" she whispered. "I'm Lucas," he said gently. "Your dad is very worried. He's looking for you. We're here to help." She looked down at her shoes. I didn't mean to run away. I just felt upset. Lucas nodded slowly. I understand. Sometimes feelings get big. Sometimes rain makes them feel even bigger. She sniffed. Her small hands shook. You're not in trouble, Lucas said. Your dad just wants you safe. And he loves you. A lot. Lily looked at him. Desperate. Scared. Hopeful. Will he be angry? She whispered. Lucas shook his head. No. He's just scared. And when people are scared, all they want is to hug the people they love. Lily looked down again. Then she nodded, just a small nod. Okay, she whispered. I want to go home. Lucas stood slowly. Good. Let's go find him. He took off his own jacket and placed it gently around her shoulders. It looked too big on her, but it was warm. Come on, he said softly. I'll walk with you. Lucas walked carefully beside Lily, holding her small hand as they stepped out of the quiet park. The rain was still falling, but it had changed. It wasn't angry anymore. It wasn't loud. It felt softer now, like tiny silver whispers falling from the sky. Lily held his jacket close around her shoulders. It was big on her, almost too big, but she didn't complain. She looked tired, but calmer than before. Lucas looked down at her gently. Are you feeling a little better? She nodded slowly. A little. I didn't know what to do. Everything felt too loud at home this morning. Lucas understood that kind of feeling. He understood how sometimes even simple things could feel heavy. He smiled softly. It's okay. Rainy days can make everything feel confusing. But you're safe now. And we'll find your dad. Lily took a deep breath and held his hand even tighter. When they reached the street, Lucas saw the fog drifting across the wet road. The bakery's warm yellow light glowed in the distance, like a soft welcome waiting for them. He also saw Ella standing near the bookstore, looking around anxiously. She spotted Lucas and Lily at the same moment. Her eyes widened with relief. She hurried toward them, holding her umbrella over all three of them now. Thank goodness, she breathed. Oh my, are you okay, Lily? Lily nodded. Yes. Ella put a gentle hand on the girl's shoulder. You scared your dad, sweetie. He's been looking everywhere. Lily looked down again. I know. I didn't mean to. Ella's voice softened. It's okay. Rain makes people feel strange sometimes. The three of them began walking back toward the bakery. The rain was lighter, but still steady enough to fill the street with a soft, calming rhythm. As they got closer, Lucas saw the door swing open suddenly. The tall man, the father, stood there, breathless, dripping wet, and looking around wildly. Lily, he shouted, his voice cracking. The girl froze for just a moment. Then her voice came out soft, scared, and hopeful. Dad? The man spun around. His eyes filled with tears instantly. Lily, he cried again. He ran toward her, almost slipping on the wet ground, and fell to his knees in front of her. He wrapped his arms around her tightly, holding her as if she might disappear. Lily hugged him back, her small hands gripping his coat. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice shaking. I'm sorry, Dad. He shook his head quickly, pulling her even closer. No, don't say sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I'm just glad you're safe. I was so scared. Lily cried softly into his shoulder. He kissed the top of her head, crying too. Ella stepped back a little, giving them space. Lucas felt something warm spread through his chest, a mix of relief and tenderness. Rain tapped on the three of them gently. Not heavy, not cold, just quiet. Mrs. Green appeared at the bakery door, covering her mouth, her eyes full of emotion. After a long moment, the father finally stood up, still holding Lily's hand tightly. He turned to Lucas and Ella with a shaky breath. Thank you. Thank you both so much. I I don't know what I would have done without you. Lucas felt shy suddenly, rubbing the back of his neck. It was nothing. We're just glad she's safe. Ella smiled warmly. She's a brave girl. Lily sniffed and looked up at Lucas. Thank you for finding me, she whispered. Lucas crouched down so he was at her eye level. You are very brave too, he said softly. If you ever feel upset, you don't have to hide. Someone will always listen. Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. The father gently squeezed Lucas's shoulder. Really, thank you. Lucas nodded, trying not to show how emotional he felt. The rain finally eased into a gentle drizzle. The world looked shiny, clean, and soft in the gray light. It almost felt like the storm had been holding its breath, and now it could finally rest. Mrs. Green motioned them all inside. Come in, she said warmly. You must be freezing. I'll make something warm for everyone. They all stepped inside the bakery. The warmth wrapped around them instantly like a soft blanket. The smell of bread, sugar, and coffee filled the air again. Ella closed her umbrella and shook off the drops. Lily and her father sat at a small round table near the counter. Lucas went behind the counter to help Mrs. Green, though she smiled at him as if to say, You've done more than enough today. Mrs. Green prepared hot chocolate for Lily, whipped cream, and a tiny cinnamon sprinkle on top. For her father, she made a warm cup of tea with lemon and honey. Lucas carried the drinks to their table. Here you go, he said softly. Lily smiled shyly. Thank you. Her father nodded gratefully. Ella sat down at a nearby table, letting her shoulders relax for the first time that morning. She looked tired, but peaceful now. There was something warm in her eyes when she looked toward Lucas. He felt it too. Something gentle. Something slow and real. Mrs. Green leaned toward Lucas. You've done a good thing today, she whispered. Lucas shook his head. It just felt right. She smiled knowingly. That's why it matters. The bakery felt different now. Even warmer. Even softer. Like the rain had washed away everything heavy and left only the good things behind. Lily slowly sipped her hot chocolate. Her father touched her hair again and again, as if to make sure she was really there. Ella opened her notebook, but instead of writing, she simply looked at Lucas. After a moment, she stood up and walked over to the counter. Lucas, she said softly, can we talk for a moment? Lucas felt a small flutter in his chest. Of course, he said. Ella looked at him carefully, her voice gentle. You were very kind out there. Very calm. Most people would have walked past a storm like that. But you didn't. You listened. You acted. Lucas felt his cheeks warm. I don't like seeing people scared or alone. Ella smiled softly. That's a beautiful thing. For a moment, they stood quietly, listening to the soft rain outside, the gentle clinking of dishes, and the peaceful breathing of the bakery. Then Ella said something unexpected. You know, today felt heavy when I woke up. I thought the rain would make me feel even more alone. She paused. But it didn't. Not here. Not with you all. Lucas felt something deep inside his chest. Something warm. Something honest. I'm glad you came in, he said. Rainy days are better with good people around. Ella smiled again, gentle, warm, a little shy. And at the same moment, Lily laughed quietly with her father. A small laugh, but real. And Lucas felt the whole bakery glow with something new. Something soft and bright, even in the rain. A moment of rain light, a moment when rain and warm hearts mix together and create something beautiful. The bakery stayed warm as the rainy day slowly moved into the early afternoon. Outside, the drizzle was gentle now, like the sky had finally relaxed after crying all morning. Inside, the air felt soft and full of comfort. The warm smell of bread mixed with the quiet sound of cups touching saucers. Everything was calm. Everything was safe. Lily, now dry and holding the last bit of her hot chocolate, leaned against her father. She looked sleepy but peaceful. Her father stroked her hair again and again, as if reminding himself she was really there. Mrs. Green cleaned the counter slowly, humming a little tune she liked. It was the kind of tune that made people feel light, like floating in warm water. Ella sat at a small table near the window again. Her notebook was open, but she wasn't writing. She was just looking outside, letting the view paint itself in her mind. The wet road, the quiet shops, the soft rain sliding down the glass. Lucas stood behind the counter, watching all of this with a slow breath. The morning had been heavy, filled with worry and fear. But now everything felt like warm tea. Ella turned her head and caught Lucas looking. She smiled. Lucas walked over, feeling his heart beat just a little faster. "Mind if I sit for a moment?" he asked gently. "Please," she said, moving her bag to give him space. He sat across from her. The table between them was small, and he could see the soft reflection of the rainy window in her eyes. Ella tapped the cover of her notebook lightly. "You know," she began softly, "I was writing something before the storm happened." Lucas leaned forward a little. "Oh? What were you writing?" Ella looked down for a moment, almost shy. Then she took a small breath. "I was writing about rain." Lucas gave a soft laugh. "Of course," he said. "It's a perfect day for that." Ella looked up again. Not just rain. The feeling of rain. How it makes people slow down. How it makes the world softer. How it brings unexpected moments. Her eyes moved toward Lily and her father for a second. "You are writing about moments like this," Lucas said gently. Ella nodded. "Yes, I write about small moments that feel big on the inside." Lucas rested his arms on the table. "That's beautiful. I think those moments are the ones that matter most." Ella smiled at that, slow, warm, real. "You know," she said softly, "I moved here because I needed a slower life. A quieter life. I didn't want to live in a place where everything felt fast and loud. I wanted to breathe again." Lucas listened carefully. The rain outside gave a soft rhythm to her words. "I didn't know if I made the right choice," she continued. "Moving. Starting over. Leaving everything behind." She looked down at her hands. "It's scary," she whispered. "To start again." Lucas nodded slowly. "I know that feeling." Ella lifted her eyes. "You do?" Lucas took a deep breath. "I moved here too, not too long ago. I used to live in a city that never slept. And I never slept either." He smiled a little. "Too many thoughts. Too much noise. Too many days that felt the same." Ella listened quietly, the rain continuing its soft fall behind her. "I came here because I wanted to hear myself think," Lucas continued. "And then I found this bakery. And somehow, it gave me a place to breathe. A place to be slower." Ella looked at him for a long moment. "That's exactly how I want to feel," she said softly. Lucas smiled gently. "You will. This place has a quiet heart. It moves slowly, but in a good way." Ella's eyes softened. "And today, especially today, I feel like maybe I made the right decision." Lucas looked down, smiling shyly to himself. "I'm glad you came here this morning." Ella raised her eyebrows playfully. "Are you? Even with all the chaos?" Lucas chuckled. "Maybe especially because of it. Rainy days show us things we don't see on sunny days." Ella looked outside again, watching the rain glide down the glass. "You're right," she whispered. "They show us who we are. And they show us other people too." Lucas followed her gaze. Outside, a small cat was hiding under the awning of the shop across the street. The puddles reflected the soft gray sky. The world looked quiet and slow, like a story being told in gentle whispers. Ella's voice came softly. "Lucas, can I tell you something?" He turned back to her. "Of course." She took a careful breath. When I first walked in this morning, I felt nervous. I felt completely alone. I didn't know anyone. I didn't even know if I belonged here. Lucas nodded slowly. I understand. Ella's gaze softened. But you spoke to me with kindness. You didn't rush me. You didn't make me feel strange or out of place. You made me feel welcome. Lucas felt warmth spread through his chest again. He didn't know what to do with it, but it felt good. I'm glad, he said softly. That's how I want people to feel here. Ella smiled. You did more than that. You made me feel like I could breathe again. Lucas looked down, touched by her words. I'm happy to hear that, he whispered. For a moment, they sat quietly together. No rush. No pressure. Just the sound of rain and the warm light of the bakery. Then Ella opened her notebook slowly. Do you want to hear something I wrote today? She asked. Lucas looked at her with interest. I'd love to. Ella smiled, found the right page, and began reading softly. Rain is the world's way of slowing down the noise. It washes the sky, the streets, and sometimes, even our hearts. Rain reminds us that we don't have to hurry. We can pause. We can breathe. And in the soft quiet it brings, we may meet someone who reminds us of kindness. Her voice was calm, simple, and warm. Lucas felt the words settle inside him like warm tea. That's beautiful, he said quietly. It feels true. Ella closed the notebook gently. It's how today feels. Lucas nodded. It really does. Just then, Lily stood up from her chair and walked toward the counter. Her father followed behind her slowly. Lucas, she said softly. Lucas turned. Yes. She handed him his jacket back. Thank you, she whispered. He smiled warmly. You're welcome, Lily. Her father put a hand on Lucas's shoulder. We're going home now. Thank you again. For everything. Lucas nodded. Take care. And stay warm. They walked out into the rain, together, safe, close. Ella watched them leave. Lucas watched too. Then Ella whispered. That was a good moment. Lucas nodded. A rain-light moment. Ella smiled. I like that word. The bakery door closed gently behind Lily and her father. Inside, the world was warm again. Outside, the rain fell softly, like a calm heartbeat. Lucas turned back to Ella. Do you want another coffee? He asked. Ella smiled. Yes, she said quietly. And maybe more conversation. Lucas returned her smile, warm and slow. I think we can manage that. The afternoon rain softened again, becoming a slow, steady whisper against the bakery windows. It was the kind of rain that almost sounded like breathing, calm, deep, peaceful. Inside, the bakery glowed with warm yellow light, making the place feel like a cozy shelter from the gray world outside. Lucas carefully prepared Ella another cup of coffee. He moved slowly, not because he was tired, but because the moment felt soft and delicate, like something he didn't want to rush. Ella sat at the same small table by the window. She watched him with a gentle curiosity, tapping her fingers lightly on her notebook. Each tap matched the rhythm of the rain. When Lucas finally brought her the coffee, she looked up with a smile that felt warm enough to melt the cold outside. Thank you, she said in her soft voice. You're welcome, Lucas replied, sitting across from her again. For a little while, they didn't speak. They simply watched the rain fall, leaning slightly toward each other, sharing the quiet without needing to fill it. It was a peaceful silence, the kind of silence that feels like a warm blanket. After a moment, Ella wrapped her hands around her coffee cup and asked, Do you like rainy days, Lucas? Lucas thought for a second. His eyes softened. I think I do, he said. Rain makes everything gentle. And it slows the world just enough so you can hear your own thoughts. Ella nodded. It feels honest, she said. Rain always feels honest. They both smiled at that, a small, quiet smile that seemed to stay in the air like the smell of warm bread. Lucas rested his elbows on the table. "Do you write about the rain often?" he asked. Ella looked down at her notebook for a moment. "Sometimes," she said. "Not always. I write about feelings mostly. But rain helps me understand my feelings better." Lucas tilted his head a little. "What kind of feelings?" Ella hesitated. Not because she didn't want to share, but because the answer meant something to her. "Soft ones," she said at last. "Simple ones. Things like peace, hope, small joys, or moments that feel important, even if they look ordinary." Lucas nodded slowly. "Like today." Ella looked up at him. "Yes," she whispered. "Exactly like today." The rain pressed gently against the window beside them. Outside, the gray sky looked calm, almost shy. A few people walked slowly down the street, umbrellas moving like quiet flowers. Inside, everything felt steady, warm, safe. Mrs. Green moved behind the counter, humming again. Sometimes she glanced at Lucas and Ella with a knowing smile, but she said nothing. Ella took a small sip of her coffee, then asked, "Lucas, can I ask you something?" Lucas leaned forward a little, curious. "Sure," he said. She looked at him carefully. "Why did you help Lily's father so quickly? You didn't stop or hesitate. You just went." Lucas thought about this. He didn't want to give a simple answer because the truth felt deeper than that. Finally, he said, "I think I don't like to see people feeling lost or scared. I've felt lost before, and I know how heavy that feels. If I can help someone carry that weight, even just a little, I want to." Ella looked at him with soft eyes. "That's a very kind way to see the world." Lucas shrugged gently. "I try." Ella smiled, slow, thoughtful. "You know, when you went out in the storm to find Lily, I watched you from the door for a second." Lucas raised his eyebrows. "You did?" She nodded. "Yes. And something about the way you moved, it felt calm. Even in the rain. Like you were not scared of anything." Lucas let out a small laugh. "Oh, I was scared. But sometimes, you move even when you're scared." Ella nodded again. "That's true." The two of them fell quiet for a moment. But it wasn't an empty quiet. It was a gentle pause, a breath between two people who were slowly opening their hearts to each other. Ella traced a small circle on the table with her finger. "Do you always come to this bakery?" she asked. Lucas smiled. "Almost every day. Sometimes to help Mrs. Green. Sometimes to sit and think. Sometimes just to enjoy the smell of fresh bread." Ella pulled her notebook closer. "Do you ever write? Like, stories?" Lucas shook his head. "No, I'm not a writer. I'm not good with words." Ella leaned back in her chair. "I don't believe that," she said. Lucas looked confused. "What do you mean?" Ella gave him a warm, steady look. "You speak like a storyteller. Soft, patient, clear. You make small things feel meaningful." Lucas lowered his eyes, suddenly shy. "I never thought of it like that." Ella smiled. "Well, you should." Mrs. Green walked over just then, carrying a small plate of warm cookies. "I thought you two might like a little something sweet," she said with a bright smile. Ella's eyes lit up. "Oh my, they smell amazing." Lucas grinned. "Mrs. Green's cookies always do." Mrs. Green winked at Lucas, then walked away humming again, happy to see the bakery so full of gentle warmth. Ella took one cookie, broke it in half, and offered Lucas a piece. "Here," she said softly. "Sharing tastes better." Lucas accepted it with a shy smile. The cookie was warm, soft, and sweet, almost melting on the tongue. It tasted like comfort, like kindness, like a moment that you want to remember. As they ate, Ella said, "You know, I think I'd like to write something about today. Not just the rain. Not just the storm, but the whole feeling of the day. Lucas nodded. You should. Ella opened her notebook again. She looked at the blank page for a moment. Then she wrote very slowly. Sometimes, on a rainy day, you meet someone who makes the world feel gentle again. Lucas watched her write. He felt something move inside him, like a soft spark, like a warm light. Ella closed the notebook and looked at him. Maybe, she said softly, some days are meant to bring the right people together. Lucas felt his heart beat a little stronger. Not loud, not fast, just steady, warm. I think today might be one of those days, he said. Outside, the rain slowed to a very light drizzle, like the sky was tired, but happy. Inside, the bakery glowed with soft yellow light, and something quiet and beautiful began to grow between Lucas and Ella. Not a big thing, not a dramatic thing, just a soft, gentle feeling, the beginning of something new. The rain finally began to fade. Not suddenly, not all at once. It softened the same way a deep breath softens when someone is finally calm. The clouds thinned out slowly, like they were stretching after a long, heavy sleep. Inside the bakery, the warm smell of sugar and bread had mixed with the softer afternoon air. Mrs. Green opened one of the windows just a little, letting in a cool breeze. It carried the fresh smell of wet earth and clean streets. Ella breathed it in with a peaceful smile. I love this smell, she whispered. It's like the world washed itself. Lucas nodded. It's the smell of a new start. Ella lifted her eyes toward him, and her smile grew a little warmer. The bakery had grown quiet again. Only a few customers came in now, and they walked softly, as if the rainy morning had taught everyone to move slowly. Ella looked outside and closed her notebook. Lucas, she said softly, do you want to, maybe, walk a little? Just to see how the town looks after the rain. Lucas blinked in surprise. But a gentle surprise. A good surprise. You want to walk? He asked. Ella nodded. Yes. Only if you want to. It feels like a peaceful moment out there. And I'd like to share it. Lucas felt a warm shift inside his chest. Of course, he said. I'd like that. Mrs. Green overheard them and waved a hand playfully. Go on, Lucas. The afternoon is quiet. And you deserve a little break. Lucas smiled. Are you sure? Go, she said, laughing softly. I can handle things here. Ella stood up, put her notebook gently in her bag, and walked to the door with Lucas. When they stepped outside, the world looked different. Every surface glowed with leftover rain. The roads were coated with silver reflections. The leaves on the trees held tiny drops that sparkled when the light touched them. Ella stopped on the sidewalk and looked up at the sky. Look, she whispered. Between the gray clouds, a thin strip of bright, soft light pushed through, like a secret smile from the sky. Lucas followed her gaze. It's beautiful. Ella hugged her coat a little closer, even though the air felt mild. I always feel like the sky is whispering after the rain, she said. Like it's telling us something. Lucas walked slowly beside her as they started down the quiet street. What do you think it's telling us? He asked gently. Ella smiled at the question. That everything will be okay, she said. That even storms end. Even heavy moments soften. And after the rain, the world feels honest again. Lucas let her words sink into the space between them. He liked the way Ella spoke. Not fast. Not loud. Just soft, thoughtful, warm. Like someone who had learned how to listen to her own heart. A small cat, the same one Lucas saw earlier, walked out from under an awning and stretched its back. Its fur was damp, and it looked sleepy. Ella knelt down slowly. Oh, hello, little one, she whispered. The cat blinked at her lazily, then rubbed its head against her hand. Lucas smiled at the gentle scene. You're good with animals, he said. Ella looked up at him. I just try to be gentle with everything, she said softly. Then she stood again, brushing a tiny leaf off her coat. They continued walking, passing the bookstore, the flower shop, and a quiet bench that still had small puddles on it. The whole street looked like it had been painted with soft colors. Ella slowed her steps and looked around. "It's strange," she said, "how the world feels different after a storm. Like everything is quieter. Even inside us." Lucas nodded slowly. "Maybe the rain washes away things we don't need anymore." Ella glanced at him. "Like fear." Lucas looked down at the wet ground, where their reflections moved side by side. "Yes," he said softly. "And loneliness." Ella's breath caught just a little. A soft little pause. She looked ahead again. "I think you're right." They walked in silence for a moment. But it was not a cold silence. It was the kind that feels like two hearts breathing together. Then Ella pointed up suddenly. "Look at that." Lucas lifted his head. There, hidden behind the thin clouds, a tiny arc of pale colors had begun to form. A baby rainbow. Not bright. Not full. Just a soft blush of colors waiting to grow. Ella's smile widened. "It's so small," she said, almost laughing. "But it's trying." Lucas smiled too. "Maybe small things are braver than big things," he said. "They show up quietly." Ella looked at him, her eyes warm. "You always say things like that," she whispered. Lucas blinked. "Like what?" "Things that feel true. Things people don't usually say out loud." Lucas shrugged shyly. "I guess rainy days make me talk more." Ella shook her head gently. "No. I think it's because you see the world differently. Softer." Lucas didn't know what to say to that. But he felt something glow inside him. They continued walking until they reached a wooden bridge overlooking a small river that ran through the town. The water moved slowly, carrying tiny leaves and rain reflections with it. Ella rested her hands on the railing and leaned forward. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Lucas stood beside her. The river whispered softly under the bridge, the same way the rain whispered on the bakery windows earlier. "I used to come here when I first moved," Lucas said softly. "When I felt lost. The sound of water made me feel less alone." Ella turned her head slowly. "You felt alone?" Lucas nodded. "Yes. New places are scary. Even quiet ones." Ella's voice softened. "I know. I felt the same when I arrived here." She looked back at the river. "But today, I don't feel alone." Lucas felt his heart pause for half a second. He turned toward her. "Me neither." Ella's eyes met his, gentle and honest. The sky brightened again, and the small rainbow above them grew just a little stronger. Still soft. Still shy. But definitely there. Ella pointed at it again. "Do you see it? It's like the sky wants to give us a secret." Lucas followed her finger. "A quiet secret," he said. Ella nodded. "A secret about hope." Lucas smiled. "And about new beginnings." Ella's eyes softened. "And maybe about new connections too." Lucas felt warmth rise in his chest. He held the railing lightly, grounding himself. "Ella," he began softly. She turned to him again. "Yes." He swallowed gently. "I'm really glad you walked into the bakery this morning." Ella's expression warmed slowly, like a soft sunrise. "And I'm glad you spoke to me," she said. "If you hadn't, I think today would have felt lonely." Lucas shook his head. "It wouldn't have been the same without you." Ella looked down at the river again, hiding a small smile. The rain had fully stopped now. The air was clean. The world was quiet. Ella brushed a strand of hair behind her ear and whispered, "Lucas, do you ever feel like some moments happen for a reason?" Lucas looked at her carefully. "Yes," he said. "Especially today." Ella's eyes lifted to his again, full of soft wonder. The small rainbow above them glowed gently. Two people standing on a quiet bridge after a quiet storm feeling something new begin. The small rainbow above the bridge slowly faded as the clouds drifted apart, letting more soft golden light spill across the quiet town. Evening was beginning, but it was the gentle kind of evening, the kind that arrives slowly, carefully, like a warm hand resting on your shoulder. Ella and Lucas stayed on the bridge, leaning slightly on the wooden rail. The river below whispered softly as the last drops of rain slid from the leaves above. Every sound felt softer after the storm, like the whole world was speaking in a calm voice. Ella breathed in deeply, letting the cool, clean air fill her lungs. She felt lighter than she had in a long time. She felt safe. Safe with the quiet river. Safe with the soft sky. Safe with Lucas standing beside her. Lucas watched the water too, but his thoughts kept drifting toward Ella. He couldn't help it. Something about her presence felt peaceful, like a gentle candle that warmed the room without trying. Ella turned her head slightly. "Lucas, can I ask you something?" she said softly. Lucas looked at her. "Of course." She hesitated. Not because she was unsure of her question, but because she was unsure of how deep the answer might go. "When you came here," she began slowly, "were you looking for something? Or were you running from something?" Lucas let out a small breath. Not heavy, just honest. "A little of both," he said. "I think I was looking for silence. And, maybe, looking for a softer version of myself." Ella nodded gently. "Did you find it?" Lucas looked down at the moving water, watching a small leaf drift by. "I think I started to," he said softly. "And today, it feels stronger." Ella's eyes lingered on him for a moment. She didn't push. She didn't question. She simply listened, something Lucas had never experienced so clearly with anyone else. "And you?" he asked quietly. "Did you leave your old place to find something new? Or to escape something old?" Ella rested her palms on the wooden rail, letting the breeze move her hair slightly. "I left," she said, "because I felt invisible. I lived in a busy place. Everyone rushed. No one looked at each other. Everything felt heavy, loud. And even when I was surrounded by people, I felt alone." Lucas nodded slowly. "I know that feeling." Ella looked up at him. "Do you?" Lucas let his shoulders relax. "Yes. Feeling alone in a crowded place is a special kind of loneliness." Ella's breath caught a little, because he had perfectly described the feeling she had been trying to escape for years. So she continued, her voice soft. "I wanted a small town. A place where I could breathe. A place that moved slowly. A place where someone might actually notice me." Lucas turned to her fully now, his eyes gentle and steady. "I noticed you," he said quietly. Ella's eyes softened. Her fingers pressed gently against the wooden rail. "I know," she whispered. "That's why today felt different." Silence settled around them again, not cold silence, but warm silence, the kind that two people share when neither wants the moment to end. The sky above them turned a soft peach color as the sun slipped lower. The golden light touched the water, making it glimmer like warm glass. Ella closed her eyes for a moment, letting the light touch her face. "This is nice," she murmured. "Peaceful." Lucas nodded, watching her quietly. "It is." Ella opened her eyes again. "You know, when I woke up this morning, I didn't expect any of this. I didn't expect the storm. I didn't expect to feel so scared for a little girl. I didn't expect to meet someone who feels safe." Lucas inhaled slowly. "Someone who feels safe," he repeated gently. She nodded, looking down, shy. "Yes." Lucas felt something shift inside him, soft, warm, bright. He hadn't expected this day to change anything either. But now, standing beside her, he felt something new growing inside his chest. "Ella," he said softly. She lifted her eyes. "Yes." Lucas took a small step closer. Not too close, just close enough to show he wasn't afraid of the truth anymore. I felt something today too. Ella's breath paused. Something, she whispered. Lucas looked into her eyes, soft brown eyes full of calm, gentle rain. Something like warmth, he said. And comfort. And connection. Ella swallowed softly. I felt it too. Her voice was almost a whisper now. Lucas looked down at the wooden boards of the bridge. You know, I'm not always good with big words, he said. But today, when we talked, when we searched for Lily, when we walked here, it felt like the world slowed down for a reason. Ella's eyes softened with emotion. Lucas, I think the world slows down when we meet the right people. Lucas's heart beat a little harder, still soft, but full of something real. He turned toward her more fully. His voice stayed low, gentle, careful. Ella, I don't want to move too fast. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. But I want you to know that today meant something to me. Ella's fingers trembled lightly as she brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. It meant something to me too, she said. They stood like that for a moment, side by side, hearts open, the soft evening light wrapping around them like quiet gold. A small wind passed over the bridge, carrying the smell of the clean river and wet leaves. Ella closed her eyes again for a moment, letting the feeling sink into her heart. When she opened them, she turned slightly toward Lucas. There's something I didn't expect, she said softly. Lucas tilted his head. What's that? Ella breathed out slowly. I didn't expect to feel connected. Not on the first day. Not with someone I just met. Lucas nodded gently. I know what you mean. A small smile tugged at Ella's lips. But I do feel it, she whispered. And it feels nice. Lucas's chest warmed. It does, he agreed softly. Ella looked down at her hands resting on the railing. Lucas, can I tell you something? Of course. She paused for a moment, choosing the right words. When I talked with you in the bakery, I felt calm. When we helped Lily together, I felt brave. And now, walking with you, I feel like maybe I'm not alone in this new place. Lucas felt the words wrap around him like a gentle blanket. You're not, he said simply. You're not alone. Ella looked up at him again, her eyes bright with something soft and honest. Lucas stepped just a little closer, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. He didn't reach for her hand. He didn't move too quickly. He just let the space between them shrink naturally, the way soft feelings grow on rainy days. Ella didn't step back. She stayed. She breathed softly. And something warm settled quietly between them. The sky above them glowed with the last bit of orange light. The river shimmered below. The world felt gentle, slow, and full of quiet meaning. Lucas spoke softly, almost like a confession. I like this moment, Ella. Ella looked at him, her cheeks warm with a shy smile. I do too. And for the first time since the rain began that morning, Lucas felt something shift inside him, something tender, something true, something he no longer wanted to hide. The soft golden glow of evening began to fade into a calm, cool twilight. The town, quiet after the storm, smelled of wet earth and clean streets. Every step Ella and Lucas took seemed slow, careful, as if the world itself wanted them to notice each small sound, each soft shadow, each gentle reflection of light on the puddles. They left the bridge behind, walking side by side down the quiet cobblestone streets. Ella carried her notebook in one hand and brushed wet leaves from her coat with the other. Lucas walked close, careful not to step too fast, careful not to break the calm rhythm of the moment. The streets were nearly empty. A few people moved softly in the distance, carrying umbrellas like delicate flowers. The shops were closing slowly, letting their warm light spill onto the wet pavement. The world felt hushed, gentle, and very alive at the same time. Ella broke the silence first. You know, she said softly, I didn't expect today to feel like this. Lucas looked at her. What do you mean? She smiled faintly, warm and thoughtful. I mean, I didn't expect to feel seen. Not just noticed, but really seen. And not just by anyone, by you. Lucas felt a gentle heat in his chest. He looked at her quietly, letting her words sink into him like sunlight through the clouds. I feel the same, he said slowly. From the moment you walked into the bakery, something felt different. Calmer. Softer. Ella looked down for a second, shy. Then she lifted her eyes again, catching the last golden light reflecting in Lucas's hair. Do you think, she said softly, that rainy days are like life? Sometimes heavy, sometimes dark, but they always leave something soft behind. Lucas considered that for a moment, watching a tiny puddle reflect the dimming sky. Yes, he said finally. Sometimes the storm makes everything hard. But after, there's quiet. There's light. There's something new. Ella's lips curved into a small, peaceful smile. I think that's why today feels so, right? Like the rain had to come to bring this moment. Lucas's heart thumped softly in his chest. A quiet moment of courage rose inside him. Something he had not allowed himself before. Ella, he said carefully, I want to walk with you more days like this. Not just today. Not just after storms. I mean, I'd like to share moments like this whenever we can. Ella blinked slowly, soft surprise touching her features. Do you mean, she began, her voice soft, that you'd like to be friends? Or something more? Lucas smiled gently, a little shy. Something more, he whispered. But only if you want that too. Ella's chest lifted lightly with a small breath. Her eyes glowed softly in the fading light. I'd like that too, she said quietly. The words were simple, yet the air around them felt brighter. Even the evening breeze seemed to carry a gentle warmth, wrapping them in the calm after the storm. They continued walking slowly, passing the familiar shops of the town. The bookstore's windows reflected the last orange and pink streaks of sunset. The flower shop smelled faintly of roses and wet soil. Everything felt alive, but gentle, as if the world itself approved of their quiet happiness. At one point, Ella paused and looked up at the soft evening sky. Do you see that? She asked, pointing at a tiny star just starting to appear. Lucas followed her gaze. Only one? He asked. Yes, Ella said, smiling. But it's enough. Just one star can guide you when everything else is dark. Lucas nodded slowly, thinking of all the small moments today had given him. One star, one calm evening, one soft smile. Maybe that was enough to change a day, a life, a heart. They walked past the town square, now empty except for the gentle sound of water dripping from the fountain. Ella's hand brushed against her notebook again. Lucas looked at her, seeing her thoughtful expression. You write a lot, he said gently. Do you think you'll write about today too? Ella tilted her head, considering the question. Yes, she said softly. Not just about the rain, not just about the storm, but about the moments that feel soft and real. The moments that remind us we're not alone. Lucas smiled. I'd like to read that someday, he said quietly. Ella's cheeks lifted slightly. I'd like to share it with you, she said. They reached a small park near their homes. The grass was still wet from the rain, and the wooden benches glistened softly in the evening light. A few leaves floated down from the trees, carried gently by the soft breeze. Ella stopped and looked at Lucas. This is where I turn for home, she said softly. Lucas nodded. Would you like me to walk you all the way? He asked. Ella hesitated for a moment, then smiled faintly. Yes, she said. I'd like that. They walked the final stretch slowly. Step by step, quiet words, gentle smiles, and soft laughter shared in whispers. At her front door, Ella stopped. She looked at Lucas, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the street lamp above. Thank you, she said softly. For today. For the storm. for the quiet moments, for everything. Lucas smiled warmly. You don't have to thank me, he said. Today was perfect because of you. Ella blushed slightly, the soft evening light painting her face with warm colors. They stood quietly for a moment. Neither wanted to leave, neither wanted the calm to end. Finally, Ella opened the door slowly. Tomorrow, she whispered, I hope we can share another quiet day. Maybe not rainy, but something gentle again. Lucas nodded, his heart calm and warm. I'd like that, he said softly. Tomorrow, the day after, and as many days as we can. Ella smiled, a slow, peaceful smile. Good night, Lucas, she said softly. Good night, Ella, he whispered back. She stepped inside, closing the door gently. Lucas stayed outside for a moment, looking at the quiet street, the soft light, and the stars just beginning to appear. He took a deep breath. Today had been a storm. Today had been a challenge. Today had been small chaos and big warmth. And now, after all the rain, after all the quiet, after all the gentle moments, Lucas felt hope. He felt connection. He felt the soft, honest start of something real. He turned slowly, walking home himself. The town was quiet, the streets glistening, and the world felt like it could hold more gentle days, more shared smiles, more moments that matter. Tomorrow felt bright. Not loud. Not overwhelming. Just soft, slow, and full of promise. And Lucas knew the storm had ended. But the warmth, the quiet, soft warmth, would remain. Morning came slowly. The sky was soft, pale blue, and a few tiny clouds drifted lazily across it. The world felt quiet, still holding the calm from yesterday's rain. Even the birds sang softly, as if not to disturb the gentle peace. Lucas woke early, stretching his arms and feeling a small warmth in his chest. He thought of yesterday, the bakery, the storm, Ella, and the soft walks in the rain. The memories were quiet, gentle, but bright enough to make him smile. He dressed slowly and went outside. The streets were empty, calm, and glistening from the rain. Small puddles reflected the soft morning light, and the air smelled of wet earth and flowers blooming along the paths. Lucas walked toward the bakery. He wanted a cup of coffee and a small pastry, but more than that, he wanted to see Ella again. Not because he had to. Not because he was impatient. Because he wanted to share another quiet morning with her. When he entered the bakery, Mrs. Green greeted him with her usual warm smile. Good morning, Lucas, she said softly. You're early today. Lucas smiled back. Yes, Mrs. Green. Just thought I'd enjoy the calm a little. She nodded knowingly and poured him a cup of coffee. Your usual, right? Lucas nodded, feeling the comforting smell of fresh coffee and baked bread fill the air. As he turned to look toward the window, he saw her. Ella was sitting at the same small table she had chosen yesterday. Her notebook lay open in front of her, and a pen rested lightly in her hand. She looked calm, peaceful, and completely in her own world. Lucas's chest lifted slightly with warmth. He approached quietly. Good morning, he said softly. Ella looked up, blinking slowly. Her face brightened with a gentle smile. Good morning, Lucas, she replied. I didn't expect to see you so early. Lucas shrugged with a small laugh. I wanted to enjoy the quiet and maybe a good cup of coffee. Ella nodded, gesturing to the empty chair across from her. Please sit. I saved the best light for you, she said softly, her smile gentle and playful. Lucas sat, noticing how calm and peaceful the morning felt with her there. The rain had ended, the sky was clear, and the world seemed to whisper quietly in their favor. They didn't speak for a few minutes. Instead, they sipped their coffee, letting the warmth flow through their hands and hearts. The quiet felt comfortable, like a soft blanket. Finally, Ella spoke. Lucas, she said softly, do you like mornings after rain? Lucas thought for a moment. Yes, he said slowly. There's something gentle about it. The world feels clean. The air feels lighter. And everything seems possible. Ella nodded. I think that's why I like mornings too, she said. It's like life is giving you a fresh start. Lucas smiled quietly. Fresh start. I like that. Even after yesterday's storm, this morning feels soft, warm, and calm. Ella tilted her head slightly, her eyes thoughtful. You know, she said softly, yesterday felt like a storm in more ways than one. I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. And then, things just fell into place. Lucas nodded. Yes, sometimes storms happen inside and outside. But when you face them, small things, like kindness, calm, and courage, make a difference. Ella smiled faintly, resting her chin lightly on her hand. Exactly. Like your words yesterday. They were calm, soft, but they made me feel seen. Lucas felt a quiet warmth in his chest. It was the same feeling he had when he watched her smile in the bakery or on the bridge. It was steady, gentle, and growing inside him. You made me feel the same way, he said softly. Your presence, your calm, it made the morning after the storm feel real. Ella's lips curved into a shy smile. Do you think, she asked softly, that calm mornings like this are like small gifts? Moments that remind us to be gentle, slow, and patient. Lucas nodded slowly. I think so. And maybe, these mornings remind us to notice small things like coffee, bread, soft sunlight, and good conversations. Ella laughed quietly, a soft, musical sound that felt like sunlight. I like that, she said. Good conversations and small moments. They shared a quiet laugh, sipping their coffee, watching the sun reflect softly on the wet streets outside. After a moment, Lucas asked gently, Are you going to write about today? Ella's eyes lit up softly. Yes, she said. But slowly. I want to capture everything, the calm, the warmth, the small details. Not just words, but feelings too. Lucas nodded thoughtfully. I think that's the best way, he said softly. Small moments, gentle words, they matter. Ella looked at him, her expression calm and thoughtful. You know, Lucas, I think yesterday wasn't just about the storm or the rain. It was about courage. Yours and mine. And about noticing what really matters. Lucas felt the truth of her words. Yes, he said quietly. It's about noticing and appreciating. The two of them sipped their coffee again, letting the quiet speak for them. Finally, Ella closed her notebook gently, resting her hands on it. Lucas, she said softly, I think. I'd like to spend more mornings like this. Calm mornings, warm conversations, and gentle moments. Lucas felt his chest lift slightly. I'd like that too, he said softly. Tomorrow and every morning we can. Ella smiled, a soft, peaceful smile that seemed to brighten the entire bakery. The morning passed slowly. Coffee cups emptied, soft sunlight moved across the floor, and the world outside grew brighter. Every moment felt gentle, slow, and meaningful. When it was time to leave, Lucas and Ella walked together down the quiet street outside the bakery. No rush. No hurry. Just two people enjoying calm moments, soft conversation, and the promise of tomorrow. Before they parted, Ella turned to Lucas with a small smile. See you tomorrow, she asked softly. Lucas nodded gently. Yes, tomorrow and every quiet morning after that we can share. They waved, smiling, and walked their separate ways, carrying the calm, warmth, and small joy of a morning that began after the storm. Lucas walked slowly, feeling the soft sunlight on his face. He thought about yesterday, the storm, and the quiet evening on the bridge. And he felt a gentle certainty that soft, honest connections like this, small, meaningful and patient, could grow slowly into something real and lasting. And Ella, walking back to her home, felt the same warmth. The morning felt like a small gift, a quiet promise that even after storms, life could be soft, beautiful, and full of gentle hope. The morning had passed gently, leaving the town calm and peaceful. The sun climbed higher in the sky, but it was not too bright, not too hot. It was the kind of light that made everything look soft, golden, and inviting. Ella closed her notebook at home and decided to step outside again. She wanted to enjoy the afternoon. She wanted to feel the sun on her face. She wanted to notice small things, the sounds of birds, the flutter of leaves, and maybe the quiet possibility of meeting Lucas again. As she walked slowly down the street, she heard the familiar sound of the bakery door opening. And there he was, Lucas, smiling, looking as calm and warm as ever. "Ella," he said softly, surprised and happy to see her. "Hi, Lucas," she replied, her voice gentle. "I thought, maybe we could take a small walk? Just to enjoy the afternoon light." Lucas's eyes brightened. "I'd like that," he said quietly. They walked together slowly, letting the afternoon light touch the wet streets, the trees, and their faces. The air smelled faintly of flowers, warm bread from the bakery, and a soft breeze that carried whispers of the morning rain. Lucas glanced at Ella. "You look peaceful," he said softly. Ella smiled, her eyes warm. "I feel peaceful," she admitted. The morning helped. The calm. And our small conversations. Lucas nodded. Yes, they make mornings, afternoons, everything softer. They reached the small park they had passed yesterday evening. The fountain glimmered in the sunlight, and the grass still held soft patches of dew. A few children played quietly nearby, their laughter soft and joyful. Ella stopped near a bench and watched the water sparkle. "Do you ever notice," she asked softly, "how small things can change your mood? Like sunlight on water, or a quiet laugh, or even just a gentle word." Lucas thought for a moment. "Yes," he said slowly. "Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference." Ella nodded, smiling gently. "Exactly. And I think that's why I like spending time with you. Your words, your presence, your calm. They're small, but they matter." Lucas's chest warmed. "I feel the same," he said quietly. "You notice small things too, things I never pay attention to before." They laughed softly, quietly, without disturbing the calm of the park. It was a gentle, easy laugh, full of warmth. It was a sound that made both of them feel lighter. After a moment, Ella suggested, "Do you want to explore the small streets near the park? There are little shops, flowers, and I think some small surprises too." Lucas smiled. "I'd like that," he said. "Let's find these small surprises together." They walked slowly, noticing the details around them. A small cat slept in the sun near a flower shop. A soft bell rang as a door opened quietly, letting out a gentle aroma of freshly baked bread. A child waved at them from a distance, and they waved back with quiet smiles. Ella stopped suddenly in front of a tiny art shop. "Look at this," she whispered. The window was filled with soft paintings of small town life, trees, streets, rivers, and gentle light. Lucas looked closer. "They're beautiful," he said softly. "Simple, calm, peaceful." Ella nodded. "They remind me of today, of calm afternoons and quiet connections." They stepped inside the shop slowly, careful not to disturb the peacefulness of the space. The smell of paint and paper filled the air, gentle and warm. The shopkeeper smiled softly at them, nodding quietly. Lucas walked beside Ella, noticing the small details, the colors, the brushstrokes, the tiny imperfections that made each piece unique. He realized how much he had missed noticing small things in life. But today was different. Ella picked up a small painting of a river under soft sunlight. It looks like the river we walked by yesterday, she said. The light, the calm, it feels familiar. Lucas nodded. Yes, like a memory painted gently on paper. They left the shop quietly, carrying the warmth of small, simple art with them. The afternoon light grew softer, turning streets and rooftops into gold and amber. They walked slowly, noticing shadows, leaves, and the gentle flow of life around them. At one corner, a small ice cream cart stood in the sun. Ella's eyes lit up. "Do you want an ice cream?" she asked softly. Lucas smiled. "Why not?" he said quietly. "Small joys are the best today." They each chose a flavor. Ella picked strawberry. Lucas chose vanilla. They walked slowly down the street, eating quietly, enjoying the taste, the warmth, and the soft laughter that followed. "You know," Ella said softly, "sometimes I think happiness is like ice cream. Small, simple, and meant to be enjoyed slowly." Lucas laughed quietly. "I like that. And with the right person, it tastes even better." Ella's cheeks warmed softly, and she looked down at her ice cream. "You're right," she admitted. "Small moments, shared slowly, make life sweeter." They walked further, enjoying the afternoon, noticing small details. A bird flew across the street, a soft breeze moved the leaves, and the sun turned the clouds gold and pink. Lucas felt a calm certainty in his chest. This day, this moment, this simple walk, it felt perfect. Not because it was extraordinary, but because it was gentle, slow, and shared. Ella looked at him, noticing the same warmth. "I like afternoons like this," she said softly. "Not loud, not fast, just calm, full of small joys." Lucas nodded. "Yes, and shared with someone who notices the little things. It feels like magic." They reached the edge of the park again, where the fountain glimmered under the soft sun. They stopped for a moment, enjoying the quiet, letting the warm light fill their hearts. The afternoon felt endless, gentle, and full of small happiness. Ella smiled softly. "Lucas, I think small adventures are the best kind," she said quietly. "They remind us of simple joys and the beauty of being together." Lucas looked at her, his heart calm and bright. "Yes, and they remind us that life doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. Small moments, soft conversations, laughter, that's enough." Ella nodded, smiling warmly. And with the right person, even small adventures feel like the most important things in the world. Lucas felt a quiet joy, the kind that grows slowly, softly, and stays in your heart. "Yes," he said softly. "Even small adventures, shared together, become memories we carry forever." They walked slowly back toward the town center, holding the calm of the afternoon in their hearts. The streets glistened softly, the sun touched the rooftops gently, and life moved quietly around them. And both Lucas and Ella knew, this gentle, soft afternoon, full of laughter and small adventures, would stay with them, always. The sun began to dip low in the sky, painting the town with soft shades of orange, pink, and gold. The streets glimmered from the morning rain, reflecting the sunset like small mirrors of light. Everything felt calm, peaceful, and gentle, as if the world itself was sighing softly at the end of the day. Lucas and Ella walked slowly along the familiar streets. Their steps were quiet, unhurried, and each movement seemed to match the calm rhythm of the evening. The light touched their faces softly, and for a moment, everything felt still, like time had paused for them to notice the simple beauty around them. Ella glanced at Lucas. "Look at the sunset," she whispered softly. "It's soft and warm, like a quiet goodbye to the day." Lucas nodded, watching the sky. "Yes," he said slowly. "The colors, they remind me that even after storms, even after rain, life can be beautiful, gentle, and full of light." Ella smiled softly. I feel that way too, she said. Yesterday was a storm. This morning was calm. And now, this evening feels like a reward. A soft reward for being patient. Lucas looked at her, his eyes reflecting the fading light. I think life gives us these moments, he said quietly, to remind us to notice what matters. Small joys, soft laughter, gentle words, and people who care. Ella felt warmth in her chest. She knew he meant her. The thought made her smile, soft and shy, as they walked together. They reached the small bridge where they had spent yesterday evening. The river below reflected the sunset, turning the water into gold and pink. A soft breeze moved across the bridge, carrying the smell of wet leaves and fresh earth. Everything felt peaceful, quiet, and full of gentle meaning. Lucas leaned slightly on the wooden rail, looking at the water. This bridge, he said softly, feels special. Like it holds all the quiet moments we've shared. Ella nodded, resting her hands on the rail beside his. Yes, she whispered. It's like a place where time slows down, and we can notice small things, like the color of the water, the feeling of calm, and the comfort of being together. They stayed in silence for a few moments, letting the soft wind move their hair and the gentle light touch their faces. No words were needed. The calm of the evening spoke for them. The colors in the sky, the river below, and the soft sounds of nature all wrapped around them like a quiet embrace. Finally, Ella spoke. Lucas, she said softly, do you ever think that small moments like this can mean more than big events? More than loud celebrations? Lucas thought for a moment. Yes, he said slowly. Small moments, soft evenings, quiet conversations, they stay in your heart longer than anything else. Ella smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the colors of the sunset. I think that's why today, this whole day, feels so special. Not because of what we did, but because of how we felt. Calm, happy, and connected. Lucas felt a gentle warmth rise in his chest. He looked at her, noticing the soft light on her hair, the quiet strength in her eyes, and the small, shy smile on her lips. Yes, he whispered, I feel the same way. Today, it feels like the world slowed down, just for us. Ella turned slightly toward him. I didn't expect today to be so calm, she admitted. But I'm glad it was. And I'm glad we shared it. Lucas smiled gently. I'm glad too, he said softly. Every small moment, every quiet laugh, every shared glance makes the day feel complete. The soft wind moved again, carrying the distant sound of the town preparing for the evening. Lights in windows glowed gently, and the world seemed to hum quietly with life. Ella looked at Lucas, her voice calm, soft, and sincere. Lucas, thank you, she whispered. For the walk this morning, the small adventures, the quiet conversations, for noticing me, and for letting me notice you. Lucas felt his chest warm. He wanted to say something important, something true, something that would last like the soft glow of the sunset. Ella, thank you too, he said quietly, for letting me see the calm, the warmth, and the small joys I didn't notice before, and for letting me share them with you. They stood together for a moment longer, leaning on the bridge, watching the river shimmer in gold and pink. No words were needed. Their hearts were calm. Their feelings were soft, quiet, and honest. Finally, Ella stepped back slightly. The evening is ending, she said softly. Anne, I should go home soon. Lucas nodded, understanding, but not wanting the moment to end. I'll walk with you, he said quietly. They walked slowly down the familiar street, hand in hand, though gently, carefully, softly. No rush. No hurry. Just two people sharing the calm of a fading day. At Ella's door, she stopped. I had a wonderful day, she said softly. Even with the storm, the rain, and the quiet walks, it all feels perfect in its own way. Lucas looked at her, his eyes reflecting the last light of the sunset. Yes, he said slowly, perfect because it was calm, soft, and shared with you. Ella's cheeks warmed slightly. I think, tomorrow, can be another soft day, she whispered. Another calm day with small adventures, gentle moments, and quiet happiness. Lucas nodded. I'd like that, he said softly. Another soft day and many more after that. They smiled at each other, a quiet, honest, gentle smile. No words were needed beyond that. The warmth, the calm, and the soft connection said everything they wanted to express. Ella stepped inside her home, leaving the door slightly open. Lucas stood outside for a moment, looking at the glowing windows, the soft street, and the fading sunset. He took a deep breath, letting the calm, quiet warmth settle into his heart. Today had been a storm, a calm morning, and a gentle afternoon. And now, as the evening ended, it left them with quiet reflection, soft feelings, and the promise of more gentle moments to come. Lucas turned slowly and walked home. The streets were calm, the air soft, and the world peaceful. He carried the warmth of the day, the connection he shared with Ella, and the quiet joy of small, meaningful moments. Ella, too, settled inside her home. She thought of the afternoon, the sunset, and the soft walks. And she felt the same warmth, the same calm, and the same hope for tomorrow. Even after storms, after rain, after challenges, life could be soft. Life could be calm. Life could be full of small adventures, quiet conversations, shared laughter, and moments that mattered more than anything else. Morning arrived softly. The sky was pale, with light pink and soft blue stretching across the horizon. Birds chirped gently in the trees, and the streets smelled fresh from the previous day's rain. The town seemed calm, peaceful, and ready to greet a new day. Lucas woke early, as usual. He stretched slowly, feeling the warmth of the morning light on his face. Yesterday's rain, the calm afternoon, and the soft evening had stayed in his mind. He felt quiet joy, a gentle happiness he hadn't felt in a long time. He decided to take a walk before breakfast. The streets were nearly empty, except for a few early risers. The cobblestones glistened softly, and puddles reflected the soft morning sky. Lucas felt the calm around him, letting it settle in his heart like a soft blanket. As he walked toward the bakery, he noticed something small but meaningful. The flowers along the street had tiny drops of water on their petals. The sun reflected off them, creating small rainbows in the light. Lucas paused for a moment, noticing the simple beauty. He smiled quietly. Life was full of small wonders, if you just noticed them. When he entered the bakery, he saw her, Ella, sitting at her usual table with her notebook open. She looked calm, peaceful, and ready for the new day. Her hair caught the morning light, soft and warm. Good morning, Lucas, she said softly, looking up with a gentle smile. Good morning, Ella, he replied quietly. I thought I'd start the day with a small walk and a cup of coffee. Ella nodded, her smile gentle and inviting. Perfect idea, she said softly. Morning light makes everything feel calm and bright. Lucas took his seat, and the two of them sipped their coffee slowly. They didn't speak at first, letting the calm of the morning fill the space around them. The quiet was comfortable, peaceful, and gentle. After a moment, Ella spoke softly. Lucas, do you feel yesterday's calm? Lucas nodded. Yes, it's still with me. The storm, the walks, the small adventures, everything. It feels like a soft memory I can hold today. Ella smiled. I feel the same. And I think today can be another calm day. Another chance to notice small things and enjoy them together. Lucas felt warmth in his chest. Yes, he said slowly. Small moments, soft conversations, They make days feel meaningful. Ella's eyes sparkled with gentle curiosity. Do you want to take another small walk after breakfast? She asked softly. Lucas smiled. I'd like that, he said quietly. Another calm morning, and maybe some new discoveries too. They finished their coffee slowly, enjoying the taste, the warmth, and the soft comfort of being together. Ella packed her notebook gently, ready to step outside. Lucas walked beside her, noticing the soft morning light, the quiet streets, and the gentle sounds of the town waking up. As they walked, they noticed small things. A cat stretched lazily on a sunny wall. The flowers along the street seemed brighter in the morning light. A shopkeeper opened a door, and a gentle smell of fresh bread floated in the air. Ella paused in front of a small shop she had never noticed before. Look, she whispered softly. It's a little shop with handmade crafts. Let's see what's inside. Lucas smiled. Yes. Small discoveries make mornings even better. They entered the shop slowly. The air smelled of wood and paint, soft and warm. Small handmade items lined the shelves, tiny vases, colorful cards, soft textiles, and little toys. Ella picked up a small painted stone. It's simple, but beautiful, she said softly. Like the small moments we notice every day. Lucas nodded. Yes. Sometimes small things remind us that life doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. They walked around, noticing tiny details, small designs on cards, delicate shapes of toys, and soft colors that made them smile. Lucas realized how much he enjoyed noticing small things with Ella. Her attention to detail, her gentle curiosity, and her calm presence made the world feel warmer, softer, and more inviting. Ella picked up a tiny journal. I think this is perfect for writing small thoughts, small moments, gentle discoveries, she said softly. Lucas looked at her, smiling. Yes, he said. It's like a place to capture our calm mornings, soft walks, and shared laughter. Ella nodded, and they decided to buy a few small items, something simple, soft, and meaningful. Even the small purchase felt like a shared adventure. After leaving the shop, they walked down a quiet street bathed in morning light. The world felt calm, peaceful, and full of small possibilities. Every sound, the soft steps on cobblestones, the distant chirping of birds, and the faint rustle of leaves, felt gentle, important, and alive. Ella paused near a small fountain, watching the water glimmer in the sunlight. Lucas, she said softly, do you feel happy in these small moments? Lucas nodded slowly. Yes, he said. Simple moments, gentle walks, shared discoveries, they make me feel calm, warm, and connected. Ella smiled, her eyes reflecting the light. I feel the same, she admitted. And I think noticing these small things together makes them even more special. They sat on a nearby bench, resting quietly, letting the warmth of the morning fill their hearts. The quiet around them felt like a soft blanket, wrapping them in gentle peace. No words were needed beyond the calm presence they shared. After a few moments, Ella spoke softly. Lucas, I think friendship grows quietly, like this morning light. Slowly, softly, but steadily. Lucas nodded. Yes, he said. And when we share small discoveries, gentle laughter, and quiet moments, it grows stronger. Ella smiled gently, thinking of yesterday's rain, today's calm, and the soft promise of tomorrow. I'm glad, she said softly, that we notice small things and enjoy them together. Lucas felt a quiet joy in his chest. Yes, he whispered. Small adventures, gentle moments, and calm conversations, they're the best kind of memories. They walked slowly toward the town square, noticing the soft morning light reflecting on the fountain, the cobblestones, and the small shops around them. Every step, every small sound, and every gentle smile felt meaningful. Finally, Ella stopped near a small bench in the square. "Lucas, I should go home soon," she said softly. "But today feels like another gentle beginning." Lucas nodded. "I know," he said quietly. "And I hope many gentle beginnings can follow." They smiled at each other, a quiet, soft smile that spoke more than words. The calm morning, gentle discoveries, and growing friendship had created something meaningful, quiet, and beautiful. Ella waved softly as she walked toward her home. Lucas watched her go, feeling warmth, calm, and quiet hope in his heart. The morning light lingered, soft and peaceful, like a gentle promise of more shared moments, small joys, and meaningful discoveries. Both Lucas and Ella knew the day would continue, but the calm of this morning, the soft connections, and the gentle joy would stay with them, always. And as Lucas walked home, he thought, small moments, soft conversations, and quiet discoveries could be the most important things in life. The morning passed slowly, leaving a quiet warmth in the town. The sun climbed higher, but the clouds began gathering softly in the sky. By early afternoon, the light had dimmed, and the air felt cooler. The smell of rain lingered faintly from yesterday, and the town seemed to hold its breath. Lucas walked through the streets, noticing the changing sky. Soft gray clouds rolled in slowly, and the breeze carried a gentle chill. He felt a quiet excitement. Rain had returned, but this time, he felt ready to enjoy it, ready to experience another calm day with Ella. He reached the bakery, where the familiar door opened with a soft bell. Ella was there, sitting at her usual table, her notebook open. She looked up, her eyes reflecting the soft light from the cloudy sky. "Lucas," she said softly, "I think the rain is coming back." Lucas smiled quietly. "I noticed," he said. "Anne, I like it." Another gentle afternoon. Another chance for cozy moments. Ella nodded, smiling softly. "Yes. I think rainy afternoons are perfect for quiet conversations, slow walks, and sharing thoughts." They sat together, sipping warm coffee. The smell of bread from the bakery filled the air, soft and inviting. The world outside grew darker, the clouds thick and gentle, signaling rain. After a moment of silence, Lucas spoke softly. "Ella, do you like rainy afternoons?" She looked out the window, watching the first drops begin to fall. "Yes," she said slowly. "They make everything feel soft, cozy, calm. Like life is asking you to slow down and notice small things." Lucas nodded. "I feel the same. Yesterday's storm, this morning's sun, now this soft rain. It all feels meaningful." Ella smiled, her voice quiet and gentle. "Do you ever think rainy afternoons make it easier to share thoughts? Because the world feels soft and words feel safer." Lucas considered her words. "Yes," he said slowly. "It's like the rain wraps everything in quiet, and suddenly, it's easier to speak, to listen, to connect." Ella looked at him, her eyes thoughtful. "Lucas, I want to share something," she said softly. "Something I don't always say, but today feels like the right day." Lucas leaned closer, his eyes warm and attentive. "I'm listening," he said gently. Ella took a small breath. "I've always loved rainy afternoons," she whispered. "They make me feel calm, reflective, and sometimes hopeful. Hopeful that life can be gentle, even when storms happen. Hopeful that small moments, small connections, can grow into something meaningful." Lucas felt warmth rise in his chest. "Yes," he said softly. "I feel the same way. Rain, calm, shared moments, they remind me that life is full of gentle possibilities." The rain grew heavier, pattering softly on the bakery roof. It was not loud, not harsh, just steady, soft, and comforting. The two of them sat quietly, listening, letting the sound fill the space around them. Finally, Lucas spoke. Ella, can I share something too? She nodded, smiling gently. Yes, please. Lucas took a small breath. I've always felt that life moves too fast sometimes. People rush, noise surrounds us, and we forget small things. But today, yesterday, this morning, and now, with you, I've realized small moments matter. Small conversations, gentle laughter, quiet walks, they matter more than big events. Anne, I want to keep sharing those moments with you. Ella's eyes softened, and she felt a gentle warmth in her chest. Lucas, she whispered, I want that too. Small moments, soft conversations, gentle adventures together. They make life calm, meaningful, and full of quiet joy. They both smiled, letting the quiet warmth of their words linger in the bakery. The rain continued to fall softly outside, wrapping the town in a gentle embrace. After a while, Ella closed her notebook. I think rainy afternoons are perfect, she said softly. Perfect for coffee, warm pastries, and sharing dreams quietly. Lucas nodded. Yes, sharing dreams, gently, softly, makes them feel real. Ella looked thoughtful. Lucas, what's a small dream you've had for a long time? She asked gently. Lucas paused, thinking. Well, he said slowly, I've always wanted to notice the world more carefully. To enjoy simple things, soft mornings, small walks, gentle conversations, and maybe share them with someone who notices them too. Ella's eyes brightened softly. That sounds wonderful, she said. And I think you're already living it. With today, with this moment, with me. Lucas felt his chest warm. Yes, he said softly. Small dreams, shared with the right person, become bigger in a gentle way. Ella smiled quietly, her cheeks glowing softly. I think my dream is similar, she admitted. To notice small things, enjoy quiet moments, and share them with someone who understands. They laughed softly, the sound quiet, gentle, and warm. The rain continued, pattering softly, like a lullaby for the town. Lucas looked at Ella, noticing her calm expression, her gentle presence, and the warmth in her eyes. I feel calm, happy, and connected, he said quietly. Rainy afternoons like this make life feel soft, meaningful, and full of possibilities. Ella nodded slowly. Yes, she whispered. And I think sharing these moments, sharing our dreams, makes them even brighter. The rain grew a little heavier, but it didn't disturb them. Instead, it made the moment feel cozier, more intimate, and gently alive. Outside, the streets shimmered with rain, soft puddles reflecting the gray sky. Inside, the bakery felt warm, safe, and full of calm energy. After a while, Lucas glanced at the window. The rain is perfect, he said softly. Not too loud, not harsh, just steady, like this moment. Gentle and lasting. Ella smiled, her voice soft and happy. Yes, steady, gentle, and lasting. Just like soft conversations, shared laughter, and quiet dreams. They sat together, finishing their coffee slowly. The soft rain outside became a companion, wrapping the bakery in calmness. Lucas and Ella shared small smiles, gentle words, and quiet dreams. Every glance, every gesture, every soft laugh felt like a memory being gently written in their hearts. Finally, Ella spoke softly. Lucas, I think rainy afternoons remind us to slow down, notice small things, and share gentle moments. Lucas nodded slowly. Yes, he said quietly. And when we share them, they become even more special, even more meaningful, even a little magical. Ella smiled softly, letting the words settle. I'm glad we share these moments, she whispered. And I hope there will be many more rainy afternoons, cozy moments, and shared dreams. Lucas felt a calm certainty rise in his chest. Yes, he said softly. Many more. Gentle afternoons, soft conversations, and small adventures together. The rain continued outside, soft and steady. The bakery glowed warmly, a quiet haven of calm, connection, and gentle hope. And Lucas and Ella knew these small, shared moments, these quiet dreams, were the beginning of something meaningful, lasting, and beautiful. The afternoon rain slowly faded, leaving behind a town that smelled fresh, soft, and calm. The streets glistened under the last traces of water, and the sky turned pale with hints of orange, pink, and gentle blue. Everything felt quiet, as if the town itself was preparing to rest after a day full of small, meaningful moments. Lucas walked slowly through the streets, noticing the calm after the rain. Soft puddles reflected the sky, and every step he took made gentle ripples in the water. He felt peaceful, his mind replaying the morning coffee, the walks, and the quiet conversations with Ella. The day had been simple, small, but somehow it felt deeply meaningful. As he approached the small bridge near the river, he saw her, Ella, sitting quietly at the edge of the wooden railing. She looked at the river, her eyes soft and thoughtful, watching the water shimmer in the late afternoon light. "Lucas," she said softly when she noticed him. "Hi, the rain has passed. The world feels calm." "Yes," he replied quietly, stepping closer. "The rain, the streets, the light. Everything feels gentle now. Perfect for reflection." Ella nodded, her voice soft and warm. "I've been thinking, today has been full of small joys, gentle moments, and quiet laughter. Even the rain, it felt like it had a purpose. To remind us, to slow down, notice small things, and connect with people." Lucas smiled. "Yes, I feel the same. Today reminded me that life doesn't always have to be loud, fast, or busy. Small moments, shared quietly, can be the most meaningful." Ella turned slightly toward him. "Lucas, I feel grateful. Grateful for the morning walks, cozy coffee, rainy afternoons, and for your company." Lucas felt warmth rise in his chest. "I'm grateful too, Ella. Today, the world felt calm, meaningful, and brighter because we shared it." They both looked at the river for a moment, watching the water shimmer in soft light. The gentle sounds of flowing water, distant birds, and soft rustling leaves wrapped around them like a peaceful blanket. Ella spoke softly again. "Lucas, do you think small adventures, small shared moments, can really change how we feel? Even make life feel better?" Lucas nodded slowly. "Yes," he said quietly. "They remind us that life is full of simple beauty. Moments like this, soft walks, gentle conversations, and quiet laughter make us feel alive, calm, and happy in a real way." Ella smiled, a soft, shy smile that felt warm and sincere. "I think today was perfect," she said softly. "Not because of big events, exciting adventures, or loud celebrations, but because it was calm, small, and shared." Lucas agreed. "Yes, small, shared moments are the most special. And today, it feels like we created a memory we can carry with us forever." They walked slowly toward the town square, enjoying the quiet streets. The sun was almost setting, casting a gentle golden light on rooftops and trees. Puddles reflected the warm glow, making the streets look magical, soft, and alive. Ella paused at a small cafe near the square. "Lucas, would you like to sit for a moment? Watch the evening, enjoy the soft light, and reflect on the day," she asked gently. Lucas smiled. "I'd love that," he said quietly. They found a quiet table outside, the warm glow of the sunset touching their faces. Soft conversations and laughter from nearby tables filled the air lightly, but it never disturbed their calm. The town felt alive, but gentle, like it was holding its breath for them to notice the small beauty around them. Ella looked at Lucas. "Do you remember yesterday?" she asked softly. "The storm, the quiet walks, and the evening reflection?" Lucas nodded. "Yes," he said quietly. "And today, after the calm morning, the soft rain, and cozy conversations, I feel like we've continued that peaceful story." Ella smiled gently. "Stories, small moments, shared days, they grow quietly, don't they?" she whispered. "They don't always feel important in the moment, but later, we realize they mattered deeply." Lucas agreed. "Yes," he said softly. "And I think today, these small, shared moments are the kind we'll remember the most." They sat in quiet for a while, letting the soft light, gentle breeze, and calm energy fill their hearts. Ella spoke again, her voice soft and reflective. "Lucas, I feel hopeful. Hopeful for tomorrow, for more small adventures, quiet conversations, and gentle discoveries." Lucas smiled, feeling the same warmth and certainty. "Yes, tomorrow is another chance. Another calm day. Another day to notice small things and share them." Ella nodded slowly. "Anne, I hope that day and many more, we can continue sharing gentle moments, soft laughter, and quiet dreams." Lucas reached out gently, touching her hand softly. "I promise," he said quietly, "to notice small moments with you, to share laughter, walks, and calm afternoons, and to cherish every gentle moment we spend together." Ella's eyes softened, and she smiled quietly. "I promise too," she whispered, "to enjoy each moment, share small joys, and grow this calm connection, gently, slowly, and meaningfully." The sun dipped lower, turning the sky gold, pink, and soft purple. The town glimmered in fading light, the streets and rooftops reflecting the day's calm energy. Lucas and Ella sat quietly, holding hands softly, watching the last light touch the world around them. Finally, Ella stood, brushing her hair gently. "It's time to go home," she said softly. "But I feel happy, grateful, and calm." Lucas stood beside her, smiling gently. "Yes," he said quietly. "Today was simple, small, but it left us with warmth, quiet joy, and memories we'll carry forever." They walked slowly toward her home, hand in hand, savoring each step, each glance, and each quiet word. The evening was calm, peaceful, and soft, like a gentle promise of more moments to come. At her door, they paused. Ella turned to him, her voice quiet and sincere. "Lucas, thank you. For today, for the walks, the coffee, the rain, for noticing me and letting me notice you." Lucas smiled warmly. "And thank you, Ella, for sharing your time, your calm, and your presence. Today was meaningful because of you." They shared a gentle smile, full of warmth, gratitude, and soft connection. Ella stepped inside, leaving the door slightly open. Lucas watched her go, feeling calm, happy, and quietly hopeful for tomorrow. As he walked home, the streets shimmered softly in the evening light. The calm after the rain, the soft reflections on the cobblestones, and the warm memory of shared moments filled his heart. He realized life doesn't need to be loud or fast to be beautiful. Small moments, gentle conversations, and shared laughter can make days unforgettable. And as night fell softly over the town, Lucas and Ella both carried the quiet warmth of the day in their hearts. The calm, the gentle promises, and the soft memories of today would stay with them, guiding them toward many more peaceful afternoons, shared adventures, and meaningful moments in the future. The day ended quietly, peacefully, and beautifully. And both of them knew tomorrow would bring another soft morning, gentle conversations, and new moments to cherish together. Night had fully arrived in the town. The streets were quiet, calm and peaceful with only a few soft lights glowing from windows. The air was cool, fresh, and filled with the gentle scent of wet earth after the rain. The day felt complete, and the world seemed to pause for a moment, just long enough to reflect. Lucas returned home slowly, thinking about the day. He remembered the morning sunlight, the calm walks, the cozy coffee, the gentle rain, and the warm conversations with Ella. Every small moment, every soft smile, and every quiet word felt important. He realized the day had taught him something meaningful about life, about calmness, and about connection. Sitting by his window, he looked out at the quiet streets. The puddles reflected the soft glow of street lamps, creating small, shimmering lights. Lucas smiled quietly. He thought about Ella's words, about their shared laughter, and about the soft promises they had made. He whispered to himself, practicing English softly, repeating the phrases that had come naturally today. Small moments are meaningful. Gentle conversations make life calm. Sharing quiet moments creates memories. Each phrase felt warm, slow, and full of understanding. Across the town, Ella sat by her desk, closing her notebook. She too reflected on the day, the rain, the walks, the soft coffee, and the shared moments with Lucas. She thought about the small details she had noticed, the shimmer of puddles, the soft wind, the warmth of shared smiles. And she realized these simple, quiet things could bring more happiness than loud or fast events. Ella spoke softly to herself, practicing English phrases from the day. Life is calm when we notice small things. Sharing moments makes us happy. Quiet afternoons are gentle and meaningful. Both Lucas and Ella had learned an important lesson. Life was not always about big events, exciting adventures, or loud celebrations. Sometimes life's most valuable moments were small, gentle, and quiet. A soft conversation, a shared smile, a slow walk, or noticing a flower could make a day unforgettable. The night grew deeper, and the town felt even calmer. Lucas reflected on the way he had felt this day, connected, happy, and aware of simple joys. He realized that practicing English through these small, meaningful experiences made learning feel natural and easy. Every sentence he spoke, every phrase he repeated, became a part of him, like the calm of the rain or the warmth of a shared smile. Ella did the same. She repeated soft phrases in her mind, slowly and clearly. Gentle afternoons are special. Sharing small adventures is meaningful. Quiet moments make life calm. This reflection, repetition, and gentle practice helped both of them remember the language naturally. It was not about studying from a book or memorizing rules. It was about speaking softly, listening carefully, and connecting English with real feelings and experiences. As they both prepared for sleep, they thought about the promise of tomorrow. Tomorrow could bring another calm morning, a soft walk, another rainy afternoon, and more shared laughter. They knew that practicing English through storytelling, reflection, and gentle conversation could continue to help them grow, step by step, slowly, and naturally. Lucas whispered once more, practicing full sentences. Tomorrow I will notice small things. I will enjoy calm moments and soft conversations. I will speak slowly, clearly, and kindly. Ella repeated similar phrases to herself. Tomorrow I will enjoy gentle walks. I will practice English with soft words. I will remember the warmth of shared moments. By repeating these sentences, speaking slowly, and connecting them to real feelings, they were practicing English naturally. It was a way to build fluency beyond grammar or vocabulary lists. It was a way to speak English with emotion, clarity, and calm confidence. Lucas thought back to the small adventures of the day, the morning sunlight on the streets, the reflection of puddles, the cozy coffee in the bakery, the soft conversations during the rain. He realized each of these moments could be described simply in English. The streets were calm. The puddles reflected light. The coffee was warm and cozy. The rain felt soft and gentle. Ella did the same in her mind, forming sentences. The morning was quiet. The flowers were wet with rain. The bakery smelled like fresh bread. The walks felt peaceful. These simple sentences, repeated softly, helped both of them internalize English naturally. They learned to notice details, express feelings, and speak in a way that felt real and gentle. Lucas and Ella also reflected on their shared feelings. They understood that soft connections, kindness, and gentle conversation were just as important as learning words and grammar. The calm, caring energy of today had shown them that English learning could be connected to emotions, daily life, and meaningful experiences. They realized 3 key lessons from the day. Small moments matter. Life is full of quiet joys, gentle discoveries, and soft experiences that bring happiness. Sharing with others makes moments stronger. Speaking, listening, and connecting with someone enhances feelings and helps learning. Practice slowly and naturally. Repeating sentences, observing the world, and speaking gently improves English fluency naturally, without pressure or stress. Lucas whispered once more, practicing full phrases with feeling. Small moments matter. Sharing with friends makes life better. I will speak English slowly, clearly, and with calm. Ella did the same. I will notice small things. I will enjoy quiet moments. I will speak softly, practice daily, and remember today. As they prepared to sleep, they both felt calm, grateful, and happy. The day had been simple, quiet, and full of small joys. But it had also been full of learning, connection, and meaningful English practice. The night wrapped around the town like a soft blanket. The streets, houses, and trees glimmered softly in the gentle moonlight. Lucas and Ella lay in bed, thinking about tomorrow, practicing English quietly in their minds, and feeling the calm energy of the day lingering in their hearts. They knew that life, like language learning, was a journey full of small steps, gentle moments, quiet discoveries, and shared experiences. Each day, each moment, and each soft conversation could help them grow, not just in English, but in understanding, kindness, and connection. And as the night deepened, both Lucas and Ella felt the calm certainty that tomorrow would bring another gentle morning, new small adventures, and meaningful moments to practice English slowly, clearly, and naturally. The story of the rainy day, the soft walks, and shared conversations ended for now. But the lessons, reflections, and gentle practice would continue, quietly, softly, and beautifully. Night had fully settled over the town. The streets were quiet and soft, and the moon reflected gently on the last puddles from the afternoon rain. Every house was calm, and the world seemed to hold its breath, leaving a peaceful silence in every corner. The day was over, but its lessons, small adventures, and gentle conversations stayed alive in the hearts of those who had noticed them. Lucas lay in bed, thinking about the day. The morning sun, the cozy coffee, the soft rain, and the quiet walks with Ella all played in his mind like a gentle movie. He smiled softly, feeling warmth in his chest. Today, he realized, had been about noticing, feeling, and connecting. He whispered softly, practicing English in gentle sentences. The day was calm. The rain made the world soft. I enjoyed every small moment. I spoke slowly and clearly. Each sentence helped him remember not just English words, but feelings, emotions, and memories. Ella, in her own home, thought about the same day. She remembered the shimmer of puddles, the warmth of the coffee, and the quiet laughter shared with Lucas. She repeated softly in her mind, "Small moments are special. Sharing thoughts makes life better." Rainy afternoons are peaceful and gentle. Both Lucas and Ella understood that today was more than just a day. It had been a story, a lesson, and a practice for life and language. They realized that English learning did not need to be stressful or complicated. Instead, it could be soft, slow, and meaningful, connected to real experiences, real feelings, and real connections. As the night deepened, they reflected on 3 important lessons. Notice small things. The small details in the world, like puddles, flowers, soft sunlight, or gentle rain, can bring joy and calm. Share with someone. Talking, listening, or simply being with someone helps us connect and makes moments memorable. Practice slowly and naturally. Repeating simple sentences, observing life, and speaking softly helps English fluency grow without stress. Lucas whispered to himself once more, practicing English with feeling. I will notice small things tomorrow. I will share calm moments with friends. I will speak English slowly, gently, and clearly. Ella repeated similar phrases in her mind. I will enjoy quiet afternoons. I will notice details and share thoughts. I will practice English through real experiences. The night was calm. The streets were silent except for the soft rustling of leaves. The world felt gentle and alive, and Lucas and Ella felt warm, grateful, and hopeful. They both understood that life was a story, and every day was a chance to write a new chapter. Some chapters were loud and exciting, but many were quiet, gentle, and full of small joys. And these quiet chapters, filled with soft words and shared experiences, could be the most beautiful and meaningful of all. Lucas and Ella practiced one last set of sentences together in their minds, softly, slowly, clearly. Today was calm and meaningful. Small moments are important. Sharing with others brings happiness. I can speak English gently and naturally. They realized that every day offered a chance to speak, listen, and notice. Every shared smile, every quiet conversation, and every gentle moment could become a memory and a chance to practice English naturally. Finally, Lucas closed his eyes, letting the soft feelings of the day settle in his heart. Ella did the same. Both felt calm, happy, and ready to rest. The story of the rainy day, the soft walks, the coffee, and the shared conversations had come to an end. But its lessons, reflections, and gentle practice lived on. Life, like English learning, was not about rushing or being perfect. It was about noticing, feeling, sharing, and practicing slowly, clearly, and meaningfully. As the town slept, the moonlight shimmered softly over the streets, puddles, and rooftops. The calm energy of the day lingered, gentle and comforting, like a quiet lullaby. And for all those listening, practicing, and learning English with this story, the takeaway was simple. Notice the small details around you. Share thoughts, smiles, and quiet moments with someone. Practice English naturally, gently, and with emotion. Enjoy the calm, and let learning happen with real-life experiences. Tonight, as you rest, remember, tomorrow is another chance for gentle mornings, soft walks, shared laughter, and meaningful English practice. Good night, dear listener. May your dreams be calm, your mind peaceful, and your heart full of quiet joy. Remember, English learning can be soft, meaningful, and full of life. The small moments matter, the shared moments matter, and your voice, your words, and your feelings matter too. Sleep well. Rest calmly. And when morning comes, notice the world softly, speak English gently, and carry today's calm into every word you say. The story ends here. The learning continues forever, slowly, clearly, and beautifully.